fundamentally, you do believe that a woman becomes a man's property at marriage.
I believe she belongs to the man in marriage, correct.
Why is it that the woman is handed over to the man? Why is it the opposite way around?
I don't believe a man owns a woman. You do.
I think Piers is just trying to get him to apologise for something.
I think with Piers, he does push and push and push. Like, just calm down a bit, Piers.
Yeah. And you get a guy that goes...
Skimpy Outfits does not mean anything. Skimpy Outfits just maybe you've had a baby and you're proud of how you look. Like,
what the fuck? Right, we're back for part 3. My mum reacting to Andrew Tate. This time it's women belong to men in marriage. She's going to be reacting to this from a standpoint of someone who was married for 27 years. No longer. So if there's plenty of weirdos in the comments that keep liking to pervert my mum, you can now continue, shoot your shot. Also, from some of the last comments on the videos, I know that I was talking a lot, so I'm going to make sure to just shut the fuck up and not interrupt her, because people want to hear her opinions just as well as mine. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Do you think women are the property of men?
No. The point I was making...
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious point. I said that when a man marries a woman, the woman's father walks her down the aisle, and hands her away to the man. Traditionally, this is what it says in the Bible. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I live in the most religious country in the world.
So you do think that the woman becomes the men?
I think she takes his last name.
I mean, let's watch the clip that you said about this so that we can get it in context.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Absolutely.
But I've been married twice, as it turns out, and on both occasions I didn't believe that the woman was being handed to me as chattel, as property.
What do you take as that?
I think he's just used the wrong word, as in property.
Do you not see it as just hyperbole? A statement that's not meant to be taken literally. He's not saying you're literally property, I own you, as in like the same as you would have properties, like your car is your property or a house, and that means you're responsible for your car or your house to keep you safe. So he's saying you are mine, I'm responsible for you. So
I just think he's used the wrong term with property. That's all I think.
But do you understand?
I understand what he means, because it's not as though he owns her. He's going to take care of her. Because I think, like, as parents, I don't see you as my property.
Of course, yeah, but I'm your child as opposed to the woman. Because there's a difference in, like, I'm always going to be your son. It's never going to be up or down. Whereas with a woman, she goes from, like, under the wing of her father to then the man of her life. That's what. Okay.
I didn't have a father growing up, so I never had that under my dad's wing. But my mum walked me down the aisle, and I didn't see that she was giving me over as her property at all.
But do you not think because there wasn't that tradition in terms of you didn't have a dad there, that it was just your mum fulfilling that role, as opposed to if your dad was there, it's kind of your dad giving you away to dad?
Yeah, but not with the word property. I just think he's used
more of a responsibility.
Yeah.
Perhaps the way the reason I'm asked that question repeatedly, and I'm asked in a loaded way.
So would you rephrase what you said there?
Now, that's an interesting point about phrasing. The way I would say things before I was famous, I have to take personal responsibility and accept that if I make a video that 500 people see and 1% of them misunderstand it, that's not a problem. If I make a video that 5 million people see and 1% of them understand.
So specifically on that point, I think my sister is her husband's property.
She took his last name. She married him. She wanted to join his family. She has said it herself.
Right. So she's
still a sovereign individual. She's absolutely not a sovereign individual.
Property means that the husband owns your sister.
Listen, my friend, if we want to argue about this, you need to go back to the Bible, to the Quran. You need to argue with religious.
No, I'm not talking about anything in the Bible or Quran.
But that's what it says.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I think that if a woman marries a man and she decides to take his last name, that they have different roles and responsibilities within that marriage, and I believe that.
That's not the question.
I believe the father. The father hands her.
Don't behave like a politician.
The father hands her to the man.
Right, but don't be a politician, because I think you're a straight talker, right? You keep telling me you're a straight talker. I think my sister is her husband's property. Do you regret saying it like that?
I understand that with my newfound fame, perhaps it could be phrased differently. However, I still believe that a woman is given to the man in marriage.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he's now admitting that word could have been took out of context.
Property definition: a thing or things belonging to someone, possessions collectively.
Whereas I think Tate means that man is going to take care of his sister.
To be fair, even with this interview, I think Piers does agree with him, but he's just trying to play devil's advocate as opposed to genuinely thinking he's saying that it's a woman's property. Yeah. I don't know.
But that's his job. That's Piers Morgan's job.
I guess it makes
question everything.
I guess it makes for more of an interesting conversation as opposed to just agreeing with him. Yeah. Regardless if he agrees with him or not, if I was interviewing Tate per se, I'd try to pull him up on his points to play devil's advocate as opposed to, even though I do just agree with him.
That's kind of what he's doing, isn't it? So Piers Morgan wants a reaction like Tate gets a reaction. Then it brings in more views.
As property.
No, the property is the word that other people use when they ask me the question.
But as an equal partner in a loving union, that's what marriage actually means. It doesn't mean that when you get married, the woman is given to you as a bit of chattel.
Agreed.
So why say it?
But that's the way that people ask me the question. People say to me, they ask the
question.
question.
Oh, hang on. You can't blame people for asking you questions. Surely, if you want to be accountable for what you've said, you've got to own your responses, not blame the question.
I own the response.
Like me asking you a question now and you say something and then say, well, actually, I blame you for asking.
I understand, Piers. Piers, I understand. I believe the woman is given to the man. I believe she's given away by the father. I believe she belongs to the man.
So fundamentally, you do believe that a woman becomes a man's property at marriage.
I believe she belongs to the man in marriage, correct.
Right. You see, that to me is misogyny.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
Right. But do you not understand why people think it is misogyny?
Do you believe it's misogynistic?
No, I think, belongs to the man. Could have, again, used better words, but they've took a vow together, so of course they belong to each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not even denouncing the fact that the woman belongs to the man either.
No.
He's just saying, she belongs to me.
But then what's the point if no one is going to take their vows seriously? What's the point in being married? So you might as well belong to each other. You're not going to lose your sense of who you are, surely. You're still your own person.
He did say, I still believe the woman is a sovereign individual. She can do what she wants.
Yeah.
I just believe she belongs to me.
Well, yeah. She's my woman. I will take care of her.
I'm responsible for her.
Yeah,
so...
when she's sad, I pick her up. When she's ill, I look after her, and vice versa.
So do you not believe that maybe he has a degree of authority over her, given he has responsibility over her?
Not authority, no. I think that's the wrong term.
But take the sting out of the word authority in terms of he can decide if she goes there and he goes, I don't think that's a safe environment, I don't want you there. That's the responsibility.
They have to have some sort of mutual agreement, don't they?
Do you not think, though, because, for example, like in my relationship, my girl wants to go to a party or something, if I feel genuinely uncomfortable with it, and I say, I don't want you going, or you're not with any friends that I trust, or you're not with anyone, I can then say, no, I feel uncomfortable with something, and she respects that, and she goes,
as long
okay,
as
that's fine.
you have that mutual agreement, then it doesn't matter to anybody else, it's between you both.
Of course.
So
because some people would call that controlling to a degree, but then I just think
I don't know if it's controlling or you just want to make sure that she's safe and looked after, and you can't always go on, you don't trust her certain friends, because you should be able to trust that person. And if your girlfriend gets put in a situation and it makes you be put uneasy, then do you actually trust her?
Okay, so if I'm walking through the street at night, if I decide to take a cut through an alley, if I then have a big swinging chain around my neck and I decide to walk through that alley, I'm putting myself in a potentially dangerous situation.
But then
if I get robbed, although it's not my fault that I got robbed, I shouldn't have got robbed, it's not fair, do I not have to take a degree of responsibility for putting myself in that situation in the first place? The same way, if she was in a club and a guy grabbed her ass, she was drunk, she got off or something, do you not think there's a degree?
No.
You've got to understand that the world's not a fucking nice place and that life isn't fair.
But wherever you go, it doesn't matter if it's daytime, nighttime, you could go to a party, like a housewarming party in the middle of the daytime, you're still going to get them drunken people that are going to touch your girlfriend up.
Do you think she's more likely to get groped, grabbed, spiked in a club by herself at night, or walking to Tesco's or going out on a nice brunch with her friends? Which one is she more likely to get? Let's be real. You don't ignore it. You know what? More likely, where's she going to get spiked, groped, going to be drunk, belligerent, ignorant, aggressive men?
Going to be in a nightclub. You're not going to get spiked up Asda, are you?
There you go.
So
if I said I don't want you in a club because I feel uncomfortable with it, you're going out dressing sexy for who? Go to an all-girls club. If you don't want the attention of other men, go to an all-girls club. Go out for a nice brunch. There's plenty of other places that you can go without being...
There are certain women that can go out and not want any attention from blokes, and you just stay away from them.
Of course.
If you can trust your woman to do that, then she'd just stay away from them.
But I think
it's all about the trust. And also seeing how she is when you're out, seeing how she reacts in certain situations. Okay. That's another good thing to kind of weigh up the trust.
I just think it's contingent upon certain things. If my woman was to say I want to go out by myself to a nightclub or a party, no, not happening. You can go if you want, I'm not controlling you, but if you go, then I'm no longer responsible for you. If you're going with some respectable, good, honest friends, I know you're all going to be together the whole night, and you regularly check up with me, I know where you're going, I know, when you're coming back, everything. Cool, go enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a difference?
And some people are just not aware when they're in clubs. They have their drinks spiked and they lose things, they lose the phone and just get a bit too... Whereas I know when I go out, I know I get to a point and that's enough. I need to stop because otherwise I'll lose my sense of where am I, what am I doing, how do I get home? So I think it's just the maturity as well.
But taking out trust, even if I trust her, absolutely. Just putting her in a situation, let's say she wanted to go to a party by herself. If something happens, I'm responsible for her. So do you not think I should go, you're going to be in a situation you could get spiked, groped...
that's where she has to take responsibility for herself and her belongings. And if she feels unsafe in a situation, then she gets out of there. But that's not your responsibility.
But shouldn't I be able to express my feelings of uncomfortableness?
Your responsibility is just to check in on her. You okay? How
No,
you
but
doing?
also...
And if she needs a lift home, you get her a lift home.
But also, don't you think to a degree I should have responsibility over it? If I genuinely feel uncomfortable with the situation, or I feel there's a reason that you're going to be put in an unsafe position, why would you want to go there anyway? Because... Otherwise, I'm then responsible for you if something happens.
It's about maturity as well, isn't it? And just...
But even if I trust her, if she acted like, you trust me so I can go out and I'll go out and I'll come back when I want, you trust me.
No.
To a degree, do you then think you're disrespecting the trust?
I think you are. I mean, when I was in my relationship with your dad, and I used to go out with my girls, or not that it was often, but when I did, I'd come home at a respectful hour, and a lot of them would end up staying out because they didn't have partners. I mean, recently, you've probably seen that I come home probably a bit later when I go out with my mates.
But when you was married and you came home at a reasonable hour, was partially because of your own safety.
Just the respect out for your dad.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's the respect thing.
Yeah, respect. That's all it is, a bit of respect. So if I was, like, when I was with your dad, if I'd rolled up at, say, a couple of weekends ago, I rolled in at 3 o'clock in the morning, would your dad have accepted that? Or would he have, like, put his foot down,
yeah,
and said, do you know what, that's unacceptable? Of course that's unacceptable.
Wait, why was you open till 3 a.m? Where was you?
Oh, no, I was just at my mates.
Better being at your friends, man.
Oh, my God.
Right, anyway.
You know I'm not like that. I have social services on me now.
What?
What's your opinion?
Right. But do you not understand why people think it is misogyny?
I understand why some people can be very offended by what I say. What they do is they take a point like that and they ignore all the other points I make the other way around.
Yeah, but that's why I've repeatedly asked you about that line to see if you've changed your position. But the reality is you haven't.
It's not about changing positions. I'm a full-grown adult and I stick by the things I say and I'm responsible for them.
Which, by the way, is fine.
Absolutely.
But what you did say at the start of this little exchange, you said, I wouldn't maybe say things the same way now that I did before I was famous. And yet, actually, you've doubled down and said exactly the same thing.
On certain points.
So that is what you believe. And that's my point.
Yes.
I'm trying to work out, look,
I think Piers is just trying to get him to apologise for something. Because Andrew Tate is so fearless and outspoken in what he says. He's just trying to get him to be, well, I'm sorry for saying it that way. He just wants that. I think that's what he's trying to search for.
I think with Piers, he does push and push and push and push and push.
And constantly interrupt and try and put words in the other person's mouth.
Yeah, he does. He constantly pushes.
I do think he talks reality and he's very based in some of the things he says, but there's some things where he goes too far.
Yeah, just calm down a bit, Piers.
Yeah.
I don't know you. We've just met, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out who Andrew Tate is and what you actually believe. I don't want to twist anything at all.
Then let me make it very, very clear to the camera. I believe a woman is given to the man in marriage. I believe that. I also believe a man has a duty to protect and provide for her. I believe a man should lay down his life if something happens or his wife's life is threatened. I believe that women and children first are on the lifeboats.
But men,
I believe that men.
But a man doesn't own a woman.
It's not. No. It's okay.
Unless they literally buy them as a slave.
Well, obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about religious, biblical marriage. We're talking about something else.
Yeah, but I'm a Christian. I don't believe that I own my wife.
Do you believe your wife was given away to you when she took your last name?
I believe that there is a...
He's going from religious beliefs, and if you read the Bible, they pass the wife on.
Yeah.
They give them... So that's what he is relating to.
But to be fair, I even think to a degree a lot of women like that in the phrasing, because I remember when I originally got my girlfriend, the main thing she goes, oh, I hate Andrew Tate, because of this thing as well. She's like, he thinks about... And I tried to explain it to her in a certain way, and now we're at a point where through my relationship, through the way I am with her, my frame, the way I'm protective over her, all these other things, she now says, I love the fact that I'm yours, like I'm your property, like I'm yours.
That's the thing, all these women...
So women like to be...
And there's many women, I can
someone's
say,
man when they feel protected.
They don't want to be controlled and be told what to do, but they want a man to take care of them. They want a man to provide for them. They want a man to take them places. They want a man to love them. They want a man to show them off, but they just don't want to be told what to do by the man.
So you agree with what I said earlier about, to a degree, if you want the traditional relationship values, you've got to either choose a relationship, or that's what I'm talking about. You can't live the single life in the club every weekend. I should be able to say at some point, I don't like this, you're not going with these people, you'll go under this circumstance, because you can't live the single life and then get all the benefits of the relationship. Because I hold myself to the same degrees.
Yeah.
I don't go out to parties, I don't hang out with other females, so therefore, you're not hanging out with other men, and you're not going to parties and clubs either.
That's your choice in your
That's my respect relationship.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't like it, she can walk. Because I don't do those things. I hold myself to those same standards.
Oh, exactly.
But a lot of girls
as long as you've got a mutual agreement with it, then that's all that matters.
But a lot of women are very entitled and they think they get all the single privileges, but then all the relationship ones too. And the only way you can get those is if your stupid, weak-ass man allows you to. Because they've been just brainwashed and forced into believing that they are powerful, strong, independent girls. But also, if something happens, risk your life. You pay the bill. but I'm going out to the club this weekend and I'm going to wear a skimpy outfit. You don't get those both things. And the reason why they think they're allowed is because what they're told and because of weak men that allow it. When you get a guy that goes...
Skimpy outfits does not mean anything. Skimpy outfits just maybe you've had a baby and you're proud of how you look. Like,
what the fuck? Skimpy outfits, I'm talking about where like the skirt's so high you can almost see their ass,
that's
or like the breast is out, you've got no bra on. Do you think that's respectful to your man, regardless if you're going out with your friends, regardless of anything? You shouldn't be dressing in a provocative way to get attention. Dress modestly.
Think it's respectful to the person that's actually wearing it, to be fair.
It makes you
a man shouldn't really see what you look like before you've even got to the bedroom, should he?
Yeah, exactly. There's ways to dress sexy or whatever in a non-provocative way.
I mean, maybe I'm just old school. Like,
old school is the best. Let's go. Carry on.
Process where a father traditionally walks his daughter down the aisle and hands his daughter to this man, and they stand there and become a union of two loving people in a partnership. No, there's no ownership involved.
I didn't say
he's not selling her. The father of the bride isn't selling his daughter.
No, absolutely.
That's what property means.
She becomes a member of your family.
Is it?
I think we're arguing over semantics.
But then, why is it that the woman is handed over to the man? Why is it the opposite way around?
Well, you're just trying, again, you're arguing the semantics.
But that's what I mean. If he's arguing with that, he's just basically said the father hands the woman over to the man. So he's basically giving them...
Well, yeah, they do. That's tradition.
...a gift. But that's what I mean. No.
Okay, if you want to be the prize, if you want to be the prize, why can't you be handed over like a gift?
Contradicting what he's actually trying to make a point at.
So who are you defending in this?
I'm defending Tate. What I'm saying is Piers is like stood there saying they get married and then the father of the bride hands them over to the new man. Like, he's saying that it's not property, but he just basically said that he sees the daughter as property.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what I'm saying. They're arguing over semantics, but I think Piers agrees with him.
Yeah,
because it's the same premise. You might not argue with the way it's said,
it's
but it's
just
the same
context
premise
of how he said it. That's all.
Because fundamentally, I don't believe a man owns a woman. You do.
Well, I don't think a man owns any sovereign individual. I don't think we live in the world of slavery. I don't own any men or any woman.
Right.
Nobody owns
But when you use phrases like property, that's what you imply.
I understand.
And so my point again is, you're a smart guy, right?
Correct.
There's no denying that. You're smart, you're a good talker. I've seen a lot of the stuff. But what I don't think you quite fully understand.
No, I understand very well.
When young, impressionable people who are not as smart see things like, I think my sister is her husband's property, yes, and you've just reaffirmed that belief, they think that they have the right to own women.
I understand that very well, Piers.
That's why people think you're a misogynist.
Completely. I understand all of this very well, which is why when you're saying I was backtracking, I'm not.
Do you have any regret, though, over the way you phrase this stuff?
Well, this is the point I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, when I was not nearly as famous and I was making long format content, I was not sitting there anticipating I'd become the most Googled man on the planet and that a few seconds could be taken out of context. That was not my anticipation.
No, but it's still what you believed. It's what you believe now. So what's the difference?
It's not about, you're asking me, you're saying that young people who are impressionable.
If you said to me, look, Piers, honestly...
I just don't think he's allowing him to talk.
It's what you did to me last time.
Yeah, I know. I've even tried to stop this time because you make a point. I'm like, I need to shut this. I just need to beat. Can I just say this? It's hard. I'm trying. If I get any comments, I swear you can all go fuck yourself.
Actually, you've said the opposite. You said, actually, that's what I think, yeah.
I think that when
it doesn't really matter whether you recorded it when you're famous or not famous. It's what you actually believe, right?
I believe that a man has a duty to protect and provide for a woman. I believe that a woman's father gives her away to the man. That's what I believe, and that's in my marriage. That's the circumstance I'm going to live under. If people want to live in a different scenario,
and that's his beliefs. Everyone's allowed to an opinion and beliefs and choose what they want. That's his. Why should he have to be pulled up on it all the time?
I know what you mean. It's almost like that, like a preference thing. Like certain women, they can go, I want a guy to be tall. He has to make this amount. He has to be strong. He has to be able to protect me. He can provide for me. Whereas when a man goes, I want her to be slim, or I want her to not be a hoe, or have a history of fucking loads of people. It's like a bad thing. It's just a fucking preference.
He said it and filmed it. There's a difference. Whereas a lot of people probably think a lot of things. They just don't record it and put it on the internet.
A lot of the things Tate says, I feel like why do you think he's become so big and he's like assimilated with so many men? He couldn't get so famous and so many people be such a fucking avid follower of him if he wasn't speaking stuff that a lot of men intrinsically agreed with.
He just misinterprets it, doesn't say the correct word, or
people are just too soft and they take it the way they want.
It's for a reaction, and then the more reactions he gets, the more followers he gets.
But then everything he's saying to a degree has truth, or it's just hyperbole, exaggerated in the slight bit, so then the certain people get triggered and blow it up, and then everyone else goes, nobody's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I think it's very intelligent. Right, we got like 5 seconds left.
I believe that a man has a duty to protect and provide for a woman. I believe that a woman's father gives her away to the man. That's what I believe, and that's in my marriage. That's the circumstance I'm going to live under. If people want to live in a different scenario, that's completely theirs. Their prerogative.
Bosh.
Like I said, his prerogative.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on that?
No, I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. A lot of the time, it's clipped to get people's reaction, or he just says the wrong word in the wrong context. Like property. I wouldn't say property. I think if it's not satirical, out of context, or misconstrued clips, I think most logical, reasonable human beings can find themselves agreeing with him majority of the time. And the thing is, that's his beliefs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
His beliefs, but he's being pulled up on them.
It's so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Other people have
He's not asking for everybody to change and believe what he believes. He's just speaking what he believes in. And why is that so wrong?
No, it says he's not asking anyone to change, and he's the one who's cancelled. But then you've got the whole LGBT and all this bullshit being forced down kids' throats and fucking posted on every single item and flag and everything. You've got that whole movement being forced down kids' throat and actually doing damage to the youth. And he comes along and says his opinion, which most reasonable people can agree with. And he's the one who's fucking cancelled. He's the danger. Do you not think that shows
freedom of speech, isn't it?
I just think he's stigmatised to a degree that now everything he says, there's a contingent of the population that will automatically take it in a negative way.
Of course they will.
They'll add negative connotation to everything he says because they don't like him. Yeah. There's a lot of people, like say my girlfriend, when I met her, she actually almost didn't meet up with me because I like Tate. And I said, look, my character as a person isn't confined to another man's opinions. So give me a chance to see what I'm like. If you don't like me, fine. And then when I started to talk to her about a lot of the things, she began agreeing with it. And now she acts in a way and says things that once she used to go, no, I hate that, he said this, and now she actually tells me, oh, I love when you do this for me and this. And I'm like, you do agree with him, you just don't like him, and that's fine.
Because majority don't like him, and the majority of women don't like him. But I think
you can separate your emotions from the fucking...
just comes with being just a little bit open-minded. So he's not hurting anybody. Well, he's not doing anything. He's just giving his opinion.
He's talking sense in a world that doesn't make any.
Yeah.
So he's outcast and seen as some sort of dangerous individual, when to be honest, a lot of his views, take away how he says it and what he's saying, most people agree with. Realistically, yeah. I think Piers agrees with him on a lot of topics. He just had to play devil's advocate.
I mean, Piers Morgan's a very outspoken person.
Yeah.
And to bring another outspoken person on there and try and intimidate him was just...
I think if he gave him more of an opportunity to speak, it could have been a better conversation. But as I say, makes for a good discussion.
It does.
End of the video. Enjoy your lives, subscribe, and goodbye. Follow the socials as well. Right, done. That's that one. Fuck you. I'm gonna get comments. Oh my god, he actually says fuck you to his mum.